Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. Enjoy the show.
Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. Ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang Fantasy Basketball PH. Ang numero unong basketball patasya ng Pinas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Dito mapag-uusapan mga ballers na ligas. Fantasy Basketball PH. Put your money where your mouth is. Iba't ibang talakayan kaya tara halika. Fantasy Basketball PH ang bida. Ang pahina na ito'y magsisilbing daungan sa mga hilig na ang basketball ay mapag-usapan. Kasama si Papi Roy, madami kang matututunan gaya ng strategy, analysis sa kaganapan. Pag-uusapan ang DFS, roto head to head, buy low, sell high, add, draft and trade, magic puno at iba pang transaction sa laro. Lahat dito'y tatalakayin kayo, wag na lumayo. Bida dito yung mga player na magaling kumamada, mala Nikola Jokic at Victor Wembanyama. Yung mga hustle na player like Russell and Dillon at iba pa ay dito natin pwedeng makonsume. Let's talk about NPBL, UAAP and PBA together with NCAA and NBA. At sa lahat ng mga nangungopya ka ng literal, sa aking mga content di rin kayo magtatagal.
Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast, your Filipino brand of fantasy basketball, ang numero unong fantasy basketball podcast ng Pinas. At syempre, I am your NBA Fantasy Papi, Papi Roy ng FBPH. And this is a cross episode sa Radyo Pilipinas, 2 Sports 918 AM. Okay, so ang episode na to at ang magiging topic natin for this episode ay ang NBA season predictions kasi napakalapit na. We're just hours away sa umpisa ng NBA season 2024-2025. And with that said, feeling ko kailangan na natin magkalabasan ng mga prediction, ng mga analysis. Alam ko lahat tayo may mga sinusubaybayan at sinusuportahan team, sinusubaybayan at sinusuportahan players, pero kailangan natin ng resibo para ganun talaga yung mga Pilipino eh. We are very well opinionated pagdating sa basketball since we are a basketball country. So I'm really excited dito sa episode na to kasi ilalabas natin yung resibo ko kung sino-sino yung mga teams at players na sa palagay ko ay makakuha ng awards at mananalo in the upcoming NBA season. Okay, mga paps, umpisahan natin sa Eastern Conference. Teams muna tayo. So ito yung hierarchy or arrangement ko na sa palagay ko magre-record ng mga wins and losses all throughout the regular season. So, mamaya natin pag-usapan yung playoffs. Regular season muna to. So, I think for the Eastern Conference, it's still going to be the Boston Celtics. I just think konti lang, halos wala silang binago, to be honest. Wala lang talaga si Kristaps Porzingis. And yung run, both in the regular season and in the Eastern Conference Finals, even in the playoffs sa actual finals, na hindi nakakapaglaro si Kristaps Porzingis, Boston Celtics is still strong. Ganun ka-solid yung lineup, ganun ka-solid yung sistema ng Boston Celtics. And I think just because wala masyadong nabago, wala din sila halos kalaban last year, they can actually still lead the whole conference without Kristaps Porzingis. Hindi kasing dami ng wins last season, pero I think it's still gonna be enough to be the top seed sa Eastern Conference. Next team na sa palagay ko ay aangat ay New York Knicks. Hindi kasi ganun kahigpit yung competition sa Eastern Conference kontra sa Western Conference eh. And I think kahit na questionable yung bench ng New York Knicks, knowing yung style ni Tom Thibodeau, baka paglaro nila ng buong game yung mga starters ng New York Knicks. Unfortunate yung mga injuries, lalo na dun sa mga sa front court, sa mga big man ng New York Knicks. And I think gagawa sila ng move to actually solve that kahit papano. Pero yun nga, question lang talaga dito yung bench eh. What if, knock on the wood, may ma-injury doon sa starters? Then, it's not going to be this high. Pero ideally, I think kung meron man, at palagay ko naman masusolusyon na nila yun, they are still the number 2 team sa Eastern Conference. Talent-wise, system-wise, coach-wise. So I'm still seeing New York Knicks to be the number 2 team. Kung meron man na kayang i-overtake yung New York Knicks. I think that's going to be the Philadelphia 76ers. Bakit ko hindi nilagay sa number 2 yung Philly? Even mas okay yung bench nila. They have possibly the best big three. Not only in the Eastern Conference, pati sa buong NBA yan. Kaso kasi yung big three nila, yung dalawa doon, may concern sa injury, saka sa maintenance. So ang inaasahan ko na lang dito sa Philly to really succeed and maybe gulatin tayong lahat, maybe better than number 3 is it's going to be Nick Nurse and his Kawhi Leonard Toronto Raptors run. Kasi it's almost the same. Kung iisipin nyo, nag-maintenance nun si Kawhi Leonard, knowing na si Kawhi Leonard injury prone siya. Ganon din dito si Joel Embiid, and then Joel Embiid committed na hindi na siya maghahabol ng mga awards, mas hahabulin niya yung maging healthy sa playoffs. So nakikita na natin yung style at nakikita na natin yung strategy behind doon sa goal ng Philadelphia 76ers. You'll get Nurse na hindi na bago sa kanya tong gantong issue. They hired and acquired several veterans, and then tumodo sila. Kinuha nila si Paul George sa LA Clippers. So, let's see if that formula works. Hindi lang nila anticipate na ma-injury din itong si Paul George. Mukhang hindi siya makapaglaro sa opener. I-re-examine yung bone bruise niya. Pero that's a little bit optimistic than dun sa nakita nating injury, no? Akala natin ACL tear na, pero or MCL or PCL, pero at least bone bruise lang. Kaso yung bone bruise kasi lingering na injury yan eh. So yun, palagay ko if they are healthier, I think kayang maungusan ng Philadelphia 76ers sa Knicks. Hindi ko sure sa Boston Celtics, maybe kung talagang solid yung run ng Philadelphia, pero iffy pa ako dito sa number 2 at number 3 kasi questionable eh. Yung starters being healthy for Sixers and then yung bench ng New York Knicks. At number 4, I think it's going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. I really like Kenny Atkinson being hired para sa Cleveland Cavaliers. Maganda yung performance ng Cavs last season. Hindi lang talaga umayon yung injuries din doon sa kanila. May instances na hindi nakapaglaro si Darius Garland, may instances na hindi nakapaglaro si Donovan Mitchell, ganun din yung si Jarrett Allen. So, hindi sila basta makumpleto. And I think this year they are going to be healthier. And sa palagay ko, yung isa doon sa mga question at gray area sa Cavs off-season is paano mag-work si Garland saka si Donovan and si Evan Mobley saka itong si Jarrett Allen. So, I think na-settle na yon. I think they are all in. I think Kenny Atkinson is not the best, pero I think he's the most appropriate na coach to handle yung situation sa Cleveland Cavaliers. So I'm pretty excited to sa kayang gawin ng Cavs. Unfortunately, wala si Max Strus, kaka-injury lang last couple of days. That good thing andyan si Caris LeVert, wherein si Caris LeVert may previous relationship and used to play under Kenny Atkinson. So maybe baka maging ano pa siya, no, swerte na gano'n yung nangyari, pero malaking kawalan pa rin naman talaga itong si Max Strus. So yeah, feeling ko Cleveland Cavaliers is going to be their number 4. Number 5, iniisip ko ito yung number 4 yung Milwaukee Bucks, pero hindi kasi healthy si Chris Middleton. The reason why gusto ko siyang i-number 4 dapat, malakas pa rin naman kasi yung starters ng Bucks. And to be honest, last year, wherein hindi kalakasan yung players around the Milwaukee Bucks and medyo nawindang sila dun sa transition ng coach, decent pa rin naman yung nakuha nilang record sa Eastern Conference eh. Just because yun nga, hindi kalakasan ng Eastern Conference in comparison to the Western Conference. So with that said, getting someone like Gary Trent Jr., decent wing like Torian Prince. So almost the same. Parang improved version lang nung last year. Kasi last year si Malik Beasley yun. Andun din si Jay Crowder. So ngayon yun, sila na yung mga nakuha. So, yeah. Kung magiging healthy si Damian Lillard at si Giannis and then this is going to be their second year, I think they can still be that team that is going to be a upper tier or tier na team sa Eastern Conference. Hopefully, hindi mag-matter yung age ni Dame, yung age ni Brook Lopez kasi hindi na rin naman pabata yung mga piyesa ng Milwaukee Bucks. And hopefully din, uh, Chris Middleton gets managed and plays healthier. I doubt makabuo siya ng season. I doubt na marami yung games na malalaro niya. Pero it's more of like when he plays on the games that matter. So yun, palagay ko number 5 itong Milwaukee Bucks. So ahead sila ng konti dito kay Orlando Magic saka kay Pacers kahit napakaganda nung performance ng Magic saka Pacers. Just because yun nga, second year with two superstars with in Damian Lillard and Giannis could actually matter. Compared to Orlando Magic na medyo mas bata and maganda yung run nila, can they replicate that? Kailangan ko pa kasi ng justification na hindi lang yun basta solid run. Na it's something that they can replicate. They added KCP and nakakatakot yun na KCP plus Jalen Suggs. Sobrang solid na defense and pagaling ng pagaling itong dalawa nilang star or anchor in Franz Wagner at itong si Wendell Carter Jr. na big man nila, medyo healthy na. And then you also have Jonathan Isaac na healthier again. I just think magiging okay yung pag-lead ni Paulo Banquero this year. I think he could actually be more efficient. Mas magiging okay yung sistema nila. So, that's the reason why nasa top 6 sila. Hindi lang nag-alangan lang akong ilagay sila sa upper 4 or 5 just because yung pagiging bata nila. So, I know it's not really a good angle, but you know, it matters. So, regular season, fine, magiging okay sila. Pero, I just think there's gonna be matches against the Western Conference na may hirapan pa rin ng Orlando Magic. Surprisingly, medyo low ako kay Indiana Pacers, no. They had possibly one of the best offense last year, best pace din. Kaso, yun nga eh, parang mahirap mag-bank on na kaya nilang i-replicate basta-basta yon. I understand that this is going to be the second season na andyan si Pascal Siakam and he was a great addition para sa Pacers. So, ang expect mo dapat mag-improve kasi mas nakapaglaro na sila eh. Ang akin lang kasi madami din na moving pieces eh. So, how would it work na healthier na si Benedict Mathurin? 'Di ba? So, yung movement siguro, yung dynamics, hindi ko sure. And also, malaking bagay na maging healthy din si Tyrese Haliburton for Indiana Pacers to succeed. I just thought na dun sa regular season is fine. Kaso yun nga, yung performance nila sa playoffs, maraming injured na higher seeded na team last year. And then, yung maturity naging questionable dun sa laban nila against the Boston Celtics eh. Of course, natutunan nila yun. And I'm expecting some improvement. I just think, pieces-wise and system-wise, pwedeng magkabali-baliktad itong Orlando Magic, Indiana Pacers at Milwaukee Bucks, even up to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I just thought that mas established yung organization and system nung tatlong team na nilagay ko sa taas over the Indiana Pacers. Number 8, the Miami Heat. So, alam ko maraming Miami Heat fans dito sa Pilipinas, no? Hindi ko siya malagay sa taas kahit na healthy si Jimmy Butler just because the Miami Heat has been really shaky in terms of building yung right formula for them to win sa Eastern Conference. In the past couple of seasons, they had almost the same pieces, healthier pieces, pero lagi silang underdog. So hindi sila sobrang regular season performer. And that could carry over this year if Jimmy Butler is healthier, if makita natin yung another gear from Jaime Jaquez Jr., if healthier din itong si Tyler Hero, maybe Miami Heat goes a couple of level higher, maybe higher than the Pacers or Magic, or pwede silang umangat kapag may na-injury sa Bucks kasi sobra yung dependency nila sa stars nila eh. So those are the things na pwedeng magka-rumble-rumble dito sa mga teams na to. Feeling ko hindi magkakalayo yung record nila. But yeah, I have to put Miami Heat dun sa number 8 kasi it's been couple of seasons wherein ang daming concern sa health nila. So if they can stay healthy, mas aangat yung projection natin. Pero just to be conservative, nilagay ko muna sa number 8. Feeling ko after Miami Heat, in terms of yung strength nung team sa Eastern Conference, malaki na agad yung difference eh. Kasi pagpunta natin sa Atlanta Hawks, yeah, decent ang Atlanta Hawks. It's going to be a Trae Young year. Zachary Sashay is impressive. Jalen Johnson season na naman siguro. Hopefully healthier. Pero if i-compare mo yun dun sa ability ng Miami Heat to win, I think there's a little bit of a discrepancy, especially if it's a healthy Miami Heat. So itong Atlanta Hawks pababa, feeling ko hindi din siya um, high rated na team na kapag nakapasok sa playoffs makakalagpas doon sa mga succeeding na susunod na matchups like sa second round and the third round. Yeah, so even though Atlanta Hawks prove na in the previous seasons kahit na napaka-mediocre nung team nila, nakakapasok sila sa playoffs. But then again, yun nga eh. Meron kailangan matalo eh. Pag kinewenta mo yung wins at lose, fix yun eh. Imposibleng lahat may nanalo, lahat matatalo, lahat malakas, lahat mahina. So at least in this conference, I think Atlanta Hawks is in the, in the middle. Kaya nga nabanggit ko kanina medyo mediocre team ang Atlanta Hawks. Though excited ako sa second coming ni Trae Young kasi nasa kanya na naman yung reign. This time it's not gonna be DeJounte as his wing or second guy. It's going to be Jalen Johnson. Number 10, Charlotte Hornets. Nung pumili kasi ako doon sa natitirang mga teams, feeling ko itong tatlo na magkakasunod, Hornets, Bulls, saka Raptors, parang mas stable yung direction ni Charlotte Hornets over Bulls and Raptors. Even though itong Bulls, hindi lagi to basta-basta nagtatank eh. Ang akin lang, baka kasi ito na yung year na yun eh. It's been several seasons na para silang Atlanta Hawks na medyo mediocre na walang direksyon. Magtatank ba kami? Hindi. Tapos, eventually, nangyari yung mga injuries and all. With that said, with the stability of Charlotte Hornets, surprisingly, I like yung chances ni Hornets more. Pero nakadepende siya din sa health ni LaMelo Ball. So, yun lang yung question mark dyan. Kaya nga sabi ko, itong susunod na tatlo, interchangeable sila. Chicago Bulls on the other hand, sabi ko nga, hindi ko pa magets yung direction eh. For me, mas okay kung medyo magtatank sila kasi hindi naman din sila kalakasan. Thing is, yung issue nila off the court and about yung Zach LaVine being their leader, ang dami masyadong kailangan ng bola, hilaw yung front court nila. Pag kasi inupuan natin, sa tinignan natin yung lineup, there's also an alternate universe na it could go well. Alam mo yun, na parang, kapag healthy nga talaga si Lavin, tapos maglaro siya ng madaming games and he's going to be the leader to pop up his value para, I don't know, ma-retain siya or ma-trade siya because of his very, very hard to trade contract. Posibleng mag-work eh. You have Josh Giddey, healthier, Lonzo Ball, andyan pa rin naman si Vooch. Maybe this is the year na mag-breakout si Patrick Williams. So, there's an optimism there. Pero madami ding question mark. That's the reason why nilagay natin si Bulls dito sa area na to. Followed by the Toronto Raptors. Actually, among the three, yung Toronto Raptors seems like a better team. Kaso pag tiningnan mo yung direction nila sa yung depth nila, hindi ko masyado gusto eh. Naka-angkla lang talaga sila kay Scottie Barnes, kay Emmanuel Quickley, saka kay RJ Barrett eh. And to be honest, they are not a good defensive team kapag nawala si Jakob Poeltl. And yung statement ni Jakob Poeltl na sobrang weird nung off-season, mag-start ng pre-season, na sabi niya, alam naman natin na hindi tayo basta-basta mananalo. At he's really optimistic and encouraged to let the younger players to develop. hindi masyadong maganda yung ano eh, yung umpisa nung season para sa Toronto if one of your veterans and actually your core player is saying those statement. Tapos na-injured pa si RJ Barrett. It's not going to be a long-term injury, but then again, if they start the season losing, then I can see them eventually deciding to tank. So, ganun din yun sa Bulls. Charlotte Hornets baka hindi. So, that's the reason why Charlotte Bulls at Toronto yung ano natin, sequence. Next, punta na tayo dun sa magko-Cooper flag Cooper flag race. Pwede ang Toronto at Chicago na humabol sa Cooper flag race. Pero itong tatlong to, kahit na itry nilang manalo, baka mahirapan talaga sila. So, ilalagay ko talaga sila sa automatic Cooper flag racers, no? So, Detroit Pistons got the worst record and worst losing streak last year. I think they got better. I think yung bagong scenery in terms of coaching staff and then a lot of vets could improve them. And maybe also this is the year na mag-breakout either or both si Cade Cunningham saka si Jalen Duren. Kasi yun nga eh. Lalo si Cade Cunningham, tinatangkay niya eh. Hindi siya nabibigyan ng chance to play with better players around him, with good veterans, and I think Detroit did a good job doing that this season. So, let's see. Pero I'm still not expecting Detroit Pistons to win a lot of games. So, nagay natin sa number 13. Itong number 14 sa number 15, toss ko yun na to. I just thought na itong Brooklyn Nets may konting edge eh. Sobrang konting edge. Actually, yung Nets nga yung dapat ilalagay ko sa 15 eh. Nagbago lang yung isip ko kasi if Ben Simmons is healthier this year, they actually have a decent defensive lineup with Ben Simmons, and then you have Nick Claxton, and then kapag mas malaki na yung playing time nung iba pa nilang younger players and the veteran in combination, bago pa sila ma-trade, mukhang maganda pa yung dynamics eh kasi andyan si DFS, andyan si Cam Johnson. Pagkatapos may potential din silang unleash itong si Noah Clowney. So, defensive-wise, decent compared to Washington. Yung offense yung problema. Kasi it's just about Cam Thomas and maybe Cam Johnson to start of the season. Wala pa si Boyan kasi si Boyan yung pwede magbakaw eh. And then after that, sino na yung aasahan mo? Hindi usage guy yung iba. Ang next na sigurong pwedeng asahan, si Dennis Schroeder. Diba? So, that is like an advantage, disadvantage ng konti, ng bahagya over the Washington Wizards. Kaya nalagay ko sa number 14. Ang Washington Wizards kasi, kaya nalagay ko sa dulo, they have to really tank. I think, kitang-kita yun na yung direction. Similar to Brooklyn Nets. They have a lot of young guys. And I think they will start transitioning and allowing or exposing yung mga younger guys nila. Lalo na naumpisa pa lang ng season na injure agad si Malcolm Brogdon. So they have trade pieces like Brooklyn Nets. So si Brooklyn Nets, pwede nilang i-flip si Cam Johnson, si DFS, di ba? Ang Washington Wizards naman, meron din. Maybe it's going to be Kyle Kuzma, Jonas Valanciunas, Malcolm Brogdon. So there are several pieces na pwede nilang i-showcase and then i-trade na lang eventually. So dahil mas younger yung Washington Wizards, I just think na mas baka yun nga, slight edge na sila yung magiging worst team dito sa Eastern Conference. Western Conference naman mga paps, number 1 team okay si Thunder. Despite Isaiah Hartenstein being injured, I just think na maganda kasi yung pagkakabuo ng OKC dun sa grupo na to eh. And andyan, meron silang MVP caliber, meron silang MIP candidate in Jalen Williams, meron silang defenders, meron silang shooters, okay yung bench nila. Last year, maganda na rin agad yung performance nila. So, there's history to back it up, and then there's still upside for this year. So, I'm putting OKC Thunder sa number 1. And to be honest, if there's any team na kayang lagpasan yung win-loss record ng Boston Celtics, it's going to be the OKC Thunder. Lagay natin si Dallas Mavericks sa number 2. Actually, nag-isip ako dito eh. Gusto kong ilagay si Denver dapat sa number 2. Pero ilalagay ko si Dallas Mavericks sa number 2 just because baka naman hindi fluke yung nangyari last year. Medyo fluky kasi yung last year eh. When I say fluke, kaduda-duda dahil bigla na lang at some point nag-click yung Dallas Mavericks. Okay si Dan Gafford, okay si PJ Washington, okay si Derek Lively na bagong acquisition ng Dallas Mavericks and it meshed up. So, ngayon, this is the year na masusuka talaga kung kaya nilang i-maintain yun. Is it just a run or is it something na yun, ito na talaga yung bagong Dallas Mavericks? They kind of like improve by getting a elite shooter in Klay Thompson. Ang problema ko lang talaga, yung Klay Thompson, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving na lineup, it's asking too much for PJ Washington to be their defender. And hindi ko sure. Medyo hindi na natin nakikita yung solid defense coming from Klay Thompson eh. Minsan nga, pati yung offense siya questionable na eh. So, there's also a path na hindi mag-number 2 ang Dallas Mavericks. But at least, if you check all of the checklist, top 4 sa Western Conference, pasok ang Dallas. So, I'd rather put them number 2. Maganda naman yung performance nila last year. And may mga question mark din naman kasi yung ibang teams na pag-uusapan natin next. And speaking of may mga question, let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. I still think that having Jokic and Jamal Murray around makes Denver Nuggets strong. I think easy 40 plus wins. Baka naman kasi masyadong naka-highlight yung kawalan ni Bruce Brown and KCP. Nawala si Bruce Brown a year ago na nag-champion sila. Pero the Denver Nuggets did a good job. Kaso andun si KCP. So ngayon wala na si KCP. At ang kapalit si Russell Westbrook and developing couple of young wings. I just think na it's not that bad. They also got Dario Saric sa off-season. Hindi lang kagandahan na injury agad yung backup center nila. But I think Russell Westbrook is a great improvement para dun sa kawalan. Hindi naman sa kawalan, para dun sa role pala ni Reggie Jackson last year. So, mas gusto ko si Russell Westbrook. It's also asking too much from MPJ to really be a very solid number 3 and hopefully consistent. Hindi lang kapag kalaban yung Lakers. So, there's also question marks. Kaso kasi yung similar to OKC Thunder and the Boston Celtics, medyo proven na kasi yung sistema sa yung core players ng Denver Nuggets. So, hindi ko sila basta-basta i-bump down just because medyo masakit yung pagkakatalo nila sa Wolves. So, I still think Denver Nuggets is a top seed team sa Western Conference. Arguably, pwedeng number 2. Para sa akin lang. Number 4 is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Kahit na natalo nila ang Denver Nuggets, questionable sa akin yung mga moves nila. Yung moves kasi nila, this is in a strategy to ensure na there's a good team around Anthony Edwards in the future. Kung hindi nila tinrade si Kat, madaming mawawalang mga solid na role players just to retain Kat eh. Medyo masakit din ng konti yung kontrata talaga ni Kat. So they have to do and execute the trade. And yun yung question ko. Remember nung bagong acquire si Rudy Gobert sa Timberwolves? It almost didn't work. Marami nagduda until it clicked last year, di ba? So, ang akin lang, I'm pretty sure aangat pa rin at aangat ang laro ni Anthony Edwards. But yung dynamics ni Randle and Rudy Gobert is questionable. Gusto ko yung Donte DiVincenzo na acquisition. Solid depth pagdating sa bench. And actually, pwede nga siya mag-start eh. Yun lang, yung Randle na part, they got a playmaker pero Kat actually did a good job playing against Nikola Jokic, di ba? And during regular season, ang daming games na talagang nagwalwal itong si Karl Anthony Towns. And he offers a different variation ng big man eh. He shoots a lot of snipes and it helps din sa spacing ng Minnesota Timberwolves. Julius Randle can do that a bit and offers a different dynamics naman. Mas okay si Randle down low and mas facilitator. So with that said, yun. gusto kong questionin din kahit papaano yung different flavor na yon. I just think that Jokic led team is better than Minnesota Timberwolves at least for now. Let's see kung may iaangat pa yung level ni Anthony Edwards na mabuhat yung Wolves. Pero for the moment, lagay muna natin sa number 4 ang Mini. Phoenix Suns, I think Phoenix Suns is going to be a better team this year. Yung acquisition ni Tyus Jones, solid. New coach. Pagkatapos healthier na players, sobrang lupit na offensive na trio din talaga yung mga players ng Phoenix Suns. I think they got a better bench. Okay din yung pagkakakuha nila sa mga defensive players nila. Solid yung rookie nila, si Ryan Dunn. But feeling ko kakapusin pa rin sila to be top seed dito sa Western Conference. OKC, Dallas, Denver, and Minnesota is just better in terms of the pieces na meron sila. Itong Phoenix Suns kasi masyadong heavily dependent din dun sa mga players na aging and has injury concerns compared dun sa mga upper four. So, but I think magbabounce back ang Phoenix Suns. Last year, ang daming nag-project kay Phoenix Suns na talagang bobomba eh. Actually, isa ako doon. Aaminin natin yun. Accountable naman tayo. Pero yun nga, it didn't work well. So, I think this year is gonna work better. Sacramento Kings, ito yung alam mong papasok lagi. So, para sa akin, easy na ilagay siya dito sa number 6. Alam mong papasok siya lagi, pero I think Suns is better than the Sacramento Kings. Arguably, pwede nating sabihin na mas maganda na yung performance na mangyayari sa Kings dahil doon sa pag-acquire nila kay DeRozan. Pero, lalagay ko muna yung Phoenix Suns for now. Pwede silang interchangeable. Pero, Wolves is better than the Kings. Nuggets is better than the Kings. Mavs and Thunder definitely is better than the Kings. So, nilagay ko na dito ang Kings sa 6. Tingnan natin kung ano yung magiging dynamics nung pagkuha kay DeMar DeRozan. During the off-season, tumitira daw ng tres more si Sabonis. So, let's see. Maybe yun yung plano nila. Para naman yung si DeMar DeRozan can still do facilitating and mid-range na mas kilala siya. At ito namang si Sabonis, yung airpat nito, tumitira din sa tres eh. So, as good of a player itong si Domas, kaya niya talaga mag-adjust. So, yeah, I'm putting Sacramento Kings sa 6. Number 7, karambola tong dalawang team na to. Parehas pasintabi sa mga fans ng GSW at Lakers. Alam kong sobrang dami nyo. I just think medyo so-so na team itong dalawang koponan na to. Medyo average siya for my standards. Maraming kulang. Binigyan ko ng edge ang Lakers kasi baka healthier na si Vanderbilt. So I like Vanderbilt, yung impact ni Vanderbilt sa Lakers if healthier siya. Pero mas malalim yung bench ng Golden State Warriors. I think they acquired better role players. Both has aging superstars and decent rising stars. So almost the same talaga yung assessment ko sa kanila. Syempre iba pa rin si LeBron. Yung LeBron AD for me is better than si Steph saka si Draymond. Pero kasi yun nga yung players around Steph and Draymond, para sa akin, mas better naman dun sa mga players around LeBron and Anthony Davis. So, talagang karambola tong dalawang to. I can go either way. Pero sila yung number 7 at number 8 na team para sa akin. And shoutout pala kay Steph, saka lalong-lalo na kay LeBron. Baka farewell tour na ni LeBron to eh. So, subaybayan natin. Plus, yung storyline nila dalawa ng anak niya. Ewan ko, baka mamaya pag magtatalo sila, yun na lang yung gawin. No? So, let's see. I still think they are a good playoff team. Even in the Western Conference. Number 9, ito yung underdog ko sa Dark Horse. May mga binampa ko pa baba na matagal kong pinag-isipan. I just think na sobrang solid kasi nung depth ng Houston Rockets eh. They are younger. They had a good run to end the season last year. Posibleng na-figure out na nila how would it work. Healthier sila. They got a good rookie in Reed Shepard. Hopefully, mas magiging available si Tari Eason, who is a very positive impact player. So yeah, excited ako para sa Houston Rockets. So dark horse ko siya kasi pinag-isipan ko yung ibang mga teams like the New Orleans Pelicans sa Memphis Grizzlies. Mas may gray area sila eh. So alam kong mas na-prove ni Memphis saka ni Pelicans na they can be playoffs team and higher seeded team over the Rockets. Feeling ko lang ang Rockets parang Orlando Magic eh. They are figuring it out. And they have a very, very good lineup. Ang New Orleans Pelicans kasi, hindi natin alam anong mangyayari kay Brandon Ingram. So, until may mangyari doon na movement or trade, baka mamaya makasama pa pag nag-stay siya. Kasi kaka-extend lang ng New Orleans Pelicans kay TM3. So, let's see. Let's see kung magmamatter yun. Plus, wala pa silang big man. They don't trust both Matkovic and Misi. Tapos, hindi bagay or aging itong si Daniel Tyus. So, it's either Herb Jones, na yun talaga yung plano nila, na play a lot more low ball center, or si Zion, na which I think is a bad idea. Pwede, mas okay siya in paper. I just think na masyadong malaking dependency ng sistema ng Pelicans kay Zion para bigyan pa siya ng center chores, 'di ba? Mas mabuti ng power forward na lang siya. So ang daming question mark plus yung addition ni DeJounte, ano bang magiging dynamics. So until na ma-figure out nila 'yon, well maybe malagpasan nila ang Houston Rockets, even yung Golden State sa Lakers. So pero as of the moment, hangga't di pa nasosolve yun, lagay ko muna sa number 10. Ang Memphis naman, kaya ko siya binampababa. Pwede ko sana siyang iangat talaga eh. Kasi matagal nang strong ang Memphis basta healthy. And they are healthier right now. Nakakatakot lang kasi yung si Ja Morant. Muntik na namang ma-injury nung preseason. Ang masama pa nun, yung mga solid na develop nila last year, kung kailan madaming injury sila, which is si uh, yung dalawang wing nila na youngster. Isipin natin, nalimutan ko na yung pangalan nung si Vince Williams. Ayan, si Vince Williams. Injured, 'di ba? And then couple of names pa doon injured din. So, paano na lang pag nagkaroon ng problema ang Memphis with their starters? Hindi sila ganun ka-deep eh. And then they have a new dynamics wherein kaila magwo-work ba na madaming minutes si Zach Edey na rookie pa lang for them to really succeed. Marami din talagang question mark and that really kind of like pushed me to bump Memphis Grizzlies pababa. Masyadong shaky yung history ng injury combination dun sa depth nila. So, I just thought na magmamatter yon and that's the reason why binaba ko sila over Houston Rockets and Pelicans. Number 12, yung team ko, no? Gusto kong ilagay yung San Antonio Spurs sa taas. Kaso, masyado atang stretch yun. So, yeah, feeling ko, naging ano naman ako dito. Naging honest naman ako sa inyo, di ba? Gusto ko manalo ang Spurs pero this isn't the year yet. It's going to be nice to see CP3 develop and establish yung sistema and even yung iba pa nilang kinuhang acquisition like Harrison Barnes to really establish kung ano yung gustong gawin ni Pop. Pero I just think it's just a rent. I just think wala pa tayo doon. So sa mga kasama kong Spurs fans diyan. LA Clippers, kung maglalaro si Kawhi, maybe iangat ko siya. Kaso kasi gaano ba tayo magtitiwala na kayang i-replicate ni Harden yung Houston Rockets Harden? Kasi ganoon na naman yung mangyayari. And similar dun sa angle natin sa Memphis. If Harden gets injured or something happens to me, to him pala, not me, wala na eh. Ano nang gagawin ng LA Clippers? So, yung dependency na yon dun kay Kawhi sa kay Harden is just unrealistic for them to succeed this year. So number 13 sila. Number 14, Portland Blazers. Parang Detroit, they have a decent lineup ish. Kaso kasi anong gagawin nila kay Klingan? Meron pa silang DeAndre Ayton doon. Aangat ba yung laro ni Scott Henderson? magiging healthy ba sina Simons? Na injury agad yung isa nilang upcoming na wing, 'di ba? Ang dami pa ring question mark and they haven't really proven to be a winning team. So, lagay ko siya sa number 14. Ilalagay ko lang talaga si 15 ang Utah Jazz, even though I think Utah Jazz can actually overtake Portland, LA, San Antonio kapag nagseryoso yung Utah Jazz. Pero kasi knowing Danage, I just think na they will go full-blown Cooper Flag season this year. Baka palaruin na nila agad ng maaga yung mga youngsters nila just to be able to do that. Kaya, delegate ko siya sa number 15. Okay. Playoffs, mga paps. Palagay ko ang top 4 ng East is going to be the Celtics, Knicks, Philly, and Cleveland. Top 4 naman ng West is going to be Thunder, Mavericks, Nuggets, and Wolves. At ito, ang surprising na take ko. Palagay ko, papasok obviously ang Boston Celtics sa East. At gugulatin ng Denver Nuggets ang West to be back again in the finals. Last year, kung hindi talaga natalo ng Minnesota ang Denver, I was thinking na kaya nilang mag-champion last year. Feeling ko isa sila doon sa mga team na kayang talunin ng Boston. Feeling ko kaya nilang talunin ng Dallas. And now, nawala na si Karl Anthony Towns sa Minnesota Timberwolves despite losing KCP. I think they still have a good chance to utilize and pigain yung prime nito ni Nikola Jokic. So, yes, Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets sa finals. And I'm choosing the Denver Nuggets. So, medyo controversial take, pero yun ang gusto natin, di ba? Medyo controversial. So, let's ride sa Russell Westbrook, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Denver Nuggets this season. Okay. Just to cap our episode, daanan natin yung mga individual awards. So, several names ang nasa odds ngayon if you check Las Vegas sites. So, sa Coach of the Year, andyan si Tom Thibodeau, Ime Udoka, Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, saka si Kenny Atkinson. Personally, ang palagay ko mananalo ng Coach of the Year is going to be Tom Thibodeau. I think ang New York Knicks can actually, if they stay healthy and magawa nila ng paraan yung bench nila, posible na baka malagpasan pa nila or mataasan pa nila yung regular season na record ng Boston Celtics. Pero that's a lot of if. But still, Tom Thibodeau has been really coaching New York Knicks to success. Kaya this is the year. Clutch Player of the Year, we have Stephen Curry, DeMar DeRozan, De'Aaron Fox, SGA, Jimmy Butler, saka Jamal Murray. I just think it's going to be Jimmy Butler. Feeling ko bounce back season to ni Jimmy Butler. And of course, it could easily be Stephen Curry. Itong Fox saka DeRozan, magkakampi na kasi sila eh. So, yun, para sa akin, it's going to be Jimmy Butler. Sixth Man of the Year, ito medyo nahirapan ako dito kasi parang si Malik Monk lang yung legit na six man saka si Bobby Portis kasi si Naz Reid, ewan ko, pwede ba mag-start si Naz Reid? Ganun din si Jaime Jaquez saka si Donte DiVincenzo pag kinailangan. Russell Westbrook pwede din na six man. Kasi yung mga teams na nila shaky din yung starters may mga tendency to be injured and all, and syempre may requirement para maging six man of the year. So me personally, just because obviously, Bobby Portis, legit na six man siya. Alam ka namang magsabay sila basta-basta ni Giannis, di ba? So, with that said, dahil wala din si Chris Middleton, I think he's going to get a good usage boost off the bench. So, I'm choosing Bobby Portis. So, crazy eyes tayo para six man of the year. Ito, back-to-back, dahil hindi na dahil palagay ko hindi na nga makakuha ng magandang record ang San Antonio Spurs this year. Bawiin natin sa individual awards. For most improved player of the year, sobrang daming legit na candidate na pwedeng maging all-star this year kasi usually yung tinitingnan ng mga judges kay MIP kung may ability sila to be an all-star. So you have Jalen Johnson, Evan Mobley, Jalen Williams, Cade Cunningham, pwede maging all-star lahat yan. Jonathan Kuminga, medyo hindi, more of opportunity. Pero magdo-double down ako kay Victor Wembanyama. I think he's going to reach a very good improvement with CP3 around him. So MIP, Victor Wembanyama tayo. At dahil fan tayo ng Spurs at fan tayo ni Wembanyama, double down tayo. Probably rare occasion na manalo ng Defensive Player of the Year plus MIP in one season and in his second year. Kasi last year, dapat Arguable, pwede na siyang all-star. Arguable, siya na yung defensive player sa Rookie of the Year. That's how good Victor Wembanyama is. And I think, hindi ko na i-enumerate yung kalaban nyo dito. You have Rudy Gobert, Chet, Mobley, and Bam. Pero feeling ko close deal na to. It's going to be Victor Wembanyama. Rookie of the Year, you have here Matas Bozelis, Stefan Castle, Bob Carrington, Alex Reed Shepard, and Zach Edey. Of course, Stefan Castle, Spurs fan tayo. So my heart says Stefan Castle, kahit na alam kong mas may path talaga si Zach Edey to win the Rookie of the Year. Kasi sabi ko nga kanina, if maging okay yung performance ng Memphis Grizzlies and starter si Zach Edey, so there's a big reason for him to win the award. He gets a lot of minutes for a rookie and then winning team. So that's enough for justification for Zach Edey to win the Rookie of the Year. And then lastly, MVP. It could be easily Nikola Jokic na naman. Masyadong na-undervalue si SGA. Feeling ko, personally, I still like SGA over Anthony Edwards. Medyo hot take din yan kasi maraming may gusto kay Anthony Edwards. I think SGA is better up to this moment. Pero upside-wise, I think Anthony Edwards tayo. Jason Tatum, dahil wala itong si Kristaps Porzingis, could have bounce back most valuable player season this year. Or si Jaylen Brown, di natin alam. And then Jalen Bronson, just taking the Knicks again sa likudan niya to be hopefully a top seed team this year. But feeling ko long overdue na to. I think it's going to be a Luka year this season, and I think mananalo si Luka Doncic as the MVP for season 24-25 ng NBA. Okay, so medyo mahaba-habang episode pero it was fun. I hope nagustuhan nyo. Kung meron kayong mga takes na sarili, hindi kayo nag-agree or nag-agree kayo, comment nyo lang sa pag-post mamaya ng episode na to. And then if you have questions, just go to our page, Fantasy Basketball PH. Every Friday, meron kaming live Q&A. So ayan na nga, ang mga latest news and analysis around the NBA. Maraming salamat sa inyo. At kayo ay nakikinig ng Radyo Pilipinas 2 Sports. 918 AM, always choose peace mga paps.